They came back to life. Antarctica's frozen secret. Mystery revealed. Imagine a forgotten world, hidden beneath miles of ice, where time has stood still. Where ancient creatures, extinct for thousands of years, wait for the right moment to awaken. Now, imagine that modern science, instead of waiting for nature, decided to act. Resurrect extinct species, challenge the course of evolution, play with the very fabric of life. One of the first results. The return of the legendary dire wolf. A beast that roamed the earth in the Ice Age, feared for its strength and ferocity. But what does this have to do with Antarctica? The most isolated continent in the world, covered in ice for millions of years, may hold even more secrets. In this video, we dive into the depths of science, history, and the unknown. Get ready to explore the rebirth of extinct species, and discover what may still lie dormant, frozen, waiting for us. Today, when we think of Antarctica, we imagine a white and inhospitable desert, punished by winds of 300 kilometers per hour and temperatures that can drop to an impressive -89 degrees Celsius. But the history of this continent is much more complex and surprising. More than 100 million years ago, Antarctica was part of a supercontinent called Gondwana. It was a land covered in dense forests, home to dinosaurs, lush plants, and rushing rivers. As the ages passed, the continents separated. Antarctica became increasingly isolated, moving towards the South Pole. Slowly, temperatures dropped. The forests died. Snow accumulated. And layer after layer, the continent was buried under tons of ice. But has everything died? Under this white blanket, entire lakes remain liquid, isolated from the outside world for more than 20 million years. In these icy depths, unknown microorganisms thrive. Ancient DNA rests intact. Perhaps, even greater beings, still preserved, waiting to be rediscovered. What really hides in the frozen heart of Antarctica? The answer could forever change what we know about life on Earth. In the modern world, where technology advances at paces that defy imagination, a company called Colossal Biosciences made an announcement that shook the scientific community: the return of dire wolves. These animals, extinct more than 10,000 years ago, walked among us again, or at least, that's what they say. Using advanced gene editing techniques, scientists took the DNA of modern gray wolves and inserted genetic traits extracted from past fossils into it. The result? 3 cubs, with stronger jaws, robust paws, and even vocalizations similar to the ancient howls of Ice Age wolves. For some, this represents a triumph of science, the ability to reverse extinctions, recreate what was lost, perhaps even revive entire species to restore damaged ecosystems. For others, however, it is an act of arrogance, a red flag. Critics point out that the new dire wolves are, in fact, hybrids. Genetically adjusted versions of modern animals, far from being faithful replicas of the originals. Amid intense debates, the truth is that the line between science fiction and reality seems thinner than ever. And that leads us to an even bigger question: if we can resurrect wolves, what else could we bring back from oblivion? But what does the resurgence of dire wolves have to do with Antarctica? The answer is surprising. The best preserved DNA on Earth may be right under the ice sheets of Antarctica. Researchers have already found living microorganisms in subglacial lakes isolated more than 20 million years ago. If microscopic life survived, who can guarantee that DNA from larger species, perhaps even unknown creatures, is not also preserved in this frozen environment? Antarctica is one of the last places on Earth practically untouched by human action. Imagine what we could find if we drilled into the lakes hidden beneath miles of ice. Perhaps the DNA of species that have been extinct for eons. Perhaps traces of ancient civilizations buried by time and cold. The project to recreate dire wolves using ancient fossils is just the beginning. Scientists are already talking about the return of woolly mammoths. What if, in the near future, even more ambitious projects decide to explore Antarctica to recover DNA from beings that science doesn't even know existed. We are just scratching the surface of what is possible. The true genetic revolution may well begin in the icy depths of Antarctica. Humanity has always been fascinated by the power of creation. But by resurrecting extinct animals, are we just righting past wrongs, or are we playing gods? Modern science allows us to edit genes with almost surgical precision. But we are still far from understanding all the consequences. Modifying an animal's DNA can generate unpredictable effects, new diseases, ecological imbalances, impacts that are impossible to contain. Imagine a modern dire wolf escaping into the wild and interbreeding with gray wolves. What new creature would emerge? Now imagine this multiplied, ancient species of predators, herbivores, perhaps even unknown microscopic organisms, released into ecosystems that have no defenses against them. Antarctica, preserved for millions of years under ice, is a true vault of time. If we start extracting and reviving everything we find, will we know how to control what we bring back? Human history shows that curiosity often wins over prudence. And the consequences are not always predictable. Final question that remains is, are we prepared for the answers we are looking for?